good until
Good afternoon, YouTube. It's man always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. First, this is the first day of the week. And January's just about over. I think we have the rest of this week and a few more days. New Year just started, and now we're almost a month into the new year. And it's just time just flying. You get to my age, seem like, when I was younger, it seemed like Christmas took forever, and birthdays seem like it's like, you have to wait for it every other year. But now Christmas and birthdays just go fly by. Now, folks, this is my first interview for this week, and and I have a lovely lady right here, and she's from Chi-Town, and this is the lovely Miss Jerissa Upton, and she is an NPC competitor, and she just did her her NPC debut at Chicago. And Chicago Pro is one of the most bigger shows for bodybuilding. Tim Gardner, he runs that show, and they have amateur shows. Also, they have two shows. They have amateur shows for competitors at NPC, and also the show called the Miss International, which is a pro qualifier for women's bodybuilding. A lot of people don't know. Now, like lovely lady, introduce yourself and tell us how you get to this sport of muscle and masculinity.
Well, thank you for that lovely introduction. I'm really excited to be talking to you today. Thank you. Coming off of my first show. So my name is Jerissa, as you can see, and I'm a bodybuilder part-time. In my day job, I'm a business development manager for a really large healthcare network. And that feeds me and it makes me happy. But bodybuilding feeds my soul. And, it's really what makes me excited to get started with my day-to-day. And I think you said talk about how we got into bodybuilding. It was a series of just, I guess, coincidental encounters. I saw my first couple of bodybuilding shows when they used to show them actually on ESPN. Remember when they used to actually put them on TV, like on cable? And
I used to remember as a kid, we didn't have, I lived up the country for a long time. We didn't have cable. And I used to catch them on NBC. NBC used to show like bodybuilding show, like Miss Olympia, stuff like that. And now, as you know, Fox Sports used to show it. Most of the major sports networks don't show it. You can watch cornhole and bowling and poker. You can watch guys throwing beanbags and holes, but and throwing darts. But you can't watch bodybuilding anymore.
I think it's become this really interesting, controversial, but really exciting niche space. And I don't think like the general public really know what to do with it. And so these large networks don't really know how to package it and market it as this, viewing opportunity, feast for your eyes kind of thing. So I think that's why we don't see it as much on the really big streaming, platforms anymore. But when I was coming up as a kid, we did see that. And it would be kind of one of those things where you see these monstrous physiques and you're just like, well, how are people actually accomplishing this? And how is this possible? And, I would see that from time to time. And I'm someone who, my story is not unique within the bodybuilding space. Now, it's uniquely mine, but it's not unique in that I know a lot of competitors have similar journeys where I struggled with my weight. I was an athlete as a kid. Obviously, coming out of school, I was no longer an athlete. And then I had to find a balance for movement and fuel, in my adult life after sports were over. And that was a challenge. So I've been fit and fat so many times. And, I didn't really think I could be a bodybuilder until the last few times I got really lean. And I saw that my body has a proclivity for building muscle, not necessarily leaning out, but for building the muscle. So I know I can build structure and, we're working on getting lean. And the challenge of that is exciting. So when I finally got my opportunity to try, the opportunity being finances, bodybuilding is a really expensive sport.
Yeah,
People don't talk about that.
yeah, because one thing, ever since I started doing content, started doing interviews, what I found out about, what people don't understand that it costs more money for you women to compete than compared to men. Guys got to put on board shorts and a banana hammock, and those things cost maybe at the most maybe $100. And
Yeah.
and then with you ladies, you even your prejudging suit might cost you a good $500, $600, $700, and then your final suit, because it has to be bedazzled and looks everything like that, it'll cost you some almost to cost of somebody's card note or your rent, and it's just crazy how even the pro level, the money dispersion is just not fair. Where which guys can, like, if you heard Arnold just announced that they're pushing the prize money to $300,000, where in which if you were a woman bodybuilder, you'd be lucky if you get $5,000. People like Sarah Vilga's been stepping up, 15 here in one show, 20,000 here. But then, like I said, everything's changed. I used to remember when bodybuilding started, the ladies didn't have, this was like regularly, well, not too too fancy, back then when it started, in the early days. But then because they want you ladies to be more presentable, they want you to be more, kind of like more beauty queenish. You have to wear the bedazzled stuff. You have to get your hair done, your makeup done. I mean, it's one thing in hair and makeup, but then you wear jewelry and everything. It just, that money can go someplace else.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it really has become a bit of a pageant. And obviously there's a huge cost associated with that. So, bodybuilding is always going to be a sport that takes more than it gives back. So you really just have to love the process, and you have to enjoy the journey of meeting some of the people that you meet. And, nothing beats being on stage, and you just kind of have to pursue that moment, with every training session, every meal, all of that. And that the prospect of doing that work, right, is fun for me. It kind of goes back to that whole we glory in our suffering kind of line of thinking. Like, the really gritty, horrible parts of the prep process are actually the really exciting parts. Because bodybuilding, and I think you'll agree, is kind of symbolic of every pursuit of worthwhile things, and that beauty is always going to be bred from pain. Peace is always going to come from navigating disturbance, and so forth, right? And bodybuilding is a really beautiful context where we can see that. These big, beautiful, crazy bodies that you see on stage, like when Lila Brada kind of does, the signature pose, yeah, like when you see that, it's just like, wow, that's a cool pose. But when I see that, I'm just like, man, the dieting, the workouts, like the actual amount of pain that went into building this physique, like that's what I see when I see bodybuilders on stage. It's like, hey, look at what my pain created for me. Look what I endured to get here. And that's why I love it. That's why I really love it.
That's the thing is, to be a competitor, you have to have passion for it. Just people mindset of like the ordinary John Q and JQ public is that they feel like to be a bodybuilder, you gotta take steroids, you gotta lift a little weights. No, it's about following a diet, being consistent. I know some ladies who said that they got full-time jobs like yourself. They get up early in the morning to do their cardio and go work out. Then they after work to go work out a little more, because sometimes I try to work out put in 2 or 3 workouts within the day if they can. Then the thing about the eating thing is like, that's the thing, you have to be consistent. You have to eat clean and smart. I know this days like I said, I used to be an athlete myself. I never been really too fit, been more fat than anything. But when after high school and everything else that I just put on the weight, and you just it takes a hard time to take it off that weight. It's a lot of work, and to come to sport in which you got to put you put more into it than you get back out of it. It's just, it's just really, that's why I do content and do interview with you ladies. That's why I respect you ladies. Because the fact is, it's like this, one of my favorite movies is Rocky movies. And remember Rocky Balboa says, like, it's not about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. We got my man here, Brooke Barrell, coming through. Brooke, my big homie, George, Phil the Rage Page, bro, what up? Also, we got, he says also, Happy New Year, bro. Happy New Year to you. It says, George, you're my hero for life. Yeah, for life. Yeah, thank you, Brooke. Also, we have my man here, Balls Deep. Yeah. Gotta be
What a
careful, Balls
name.
Deep. And Balls Deep, he'll tell you something about himself in a minute. When I want to get through here. Salute, and also Chicago in here. He's from your neck of the
Hey.
woods. He's from Chi-Town. You gotta be careful, Balls Deep. He says also smash the like button, peace and to the chat, and also she said she's swole as AF, and yeah,
Well,
and
thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. And also hello, happy New Year, Miss Jerissa Upton. That's my man, Brooke Burrell. And I don't want to ask this from Balls Deep, and Balls Deep, yeah, why you want me to ask this? I'm not gonna ask her that. This is what he wants to ask you.
I
No,
do
Balls
not.
Deep. She's professional. No,
I
she's
do
not that
not.
type of professional. But no, I
And you
shouldn't
know
put it up
what?
there.
You know what? I respect the hustle. I know a lot of bodybuilders do OnlyFans, and we were just talking about how expensive bodybuilding is, and that's a great way to do it if you don't have. But I work a full time job, and I work in executive healthcare, so I have to be very careful with how I showcase my physique.
Yes,
So
most definitely.
unfortunately, no.
Yeah, no. And that's the thing is like we talk about how I talk about this how it is just it's the thing about women's bodybuilding that you have to find a way to make because it's hard for like you compete in physique and even that division where which is starting to get in those divisions start to melt. Like I talk about others on my channel, how if you look at the last Olympia, how some of the women in figure are starting to look more like physique. I'm seeing women from physique. So like people like if you know people like Ashley Jones,
Of course,
how
yeah,
she's
yeah,
get. I saw she posted a pictures of herself. She was a figure competitor. It has been 2 years since she switched over to physique. And that girl, I saw an interview that Andrea gave saying like she has those muscle bellies. You know how the terminology
yep,
muscle bellies.
yep.
I'm still learning that stuff, and and she's getting broader and bigger. I see you just heard and Margie Martin has decided to retire. I'm seeing shades of margin in her, especially in the quads and from the back. And I know some of you ladies want to sick of physique say, I don't want to give my femininity up because if I go over to women's bodybuilding. But you know what? If you look at some of your other women in your division, they're giving up something. If you saw Natalia, she looked way better than she was before. She looked
Yeah,
huge, and that's why she went because she put a little more size. Sarah looked good condition, but she was like a little off. I've heard somebody told me that Sarah listened to other people, and they told her, come in a little softer, and that's a mistake she made. She came in a little too soft, and Natalia
yeah,
came in a lot bigger, more conditioned, and that's how Natalia won. If Sarah would stay kept with the same plan she had before, she would probably retain a title. I was rooting for Brooke Walker. But that's just me.
I love Brooke.
Yeah, I heard people. Yeah, a lot of people good talk about her. Also, Baldia says, "Good afternoon, gorgeous." Yeah, I say good, gorgeous. And also, like, here's a question he asked you: What's her favorite gear to use? And that's controversy.
My favorite gear, well, when I'm on the stair climber, I usually use level 10 or 12.
He's not talking about that gear, but like I said, we understand that fact that you feel comfortable talking about that. We're not going to mention that, but that is one aspect about the sport is that it's like I said again. People think that steroids. No, steroids not just enough. You have to follow the diet, be consistent, and and just understand that there's a lot of work to be in a bodybuilder. A lot of work.
It's a crap ton of work. And I will say, so there's a couple of things to this too, right? To modern bodybuilding. And I think a lot of current bodybuilders today, there are a ton of people in the NPC and a ton of people even in the IFBB who don't really know about bodybuilding, right? They don't remember the time in bodybuilding when it was more aesthetic and when the workouts were these grueling, awful, horrible kind of, torture forms of torture. And sure, Arnold and the guys, right? They probably used things, but there was this much work and maybe this much gear back in those days. And now I feel like a lot of these new athletes are kind of turning that on the head. It's like, what can drugs do for me? And yeah, I'll get in a workout, and that's not taking away from a lot of people. There are a lot of really great athletes, but for every great athlete in the sport today, there are a lot of people who are really leaning into gear culture. And that's something we can talk about, but I think it is kind of overly relied upon. I
Hmm.
think gear can be a help. There's no one in the IFBB who isn't using it. Let's just be, open and
Honest.
honest about
Yeah.
that. Like, I'd be very surprised, that's just my opinion. I'm not making an official claim of that. But I do think that there has to be there's a right way to do it, and there are ways to be smart about it. And I don't know necessarily that a lot of new athletes that we're seeing on the scene these days are being smart about it, or as thoughtful as they could be. Um, so so that's something that we can talk about to be sure. But my brand of bodybuilding is always going to be rooted back in kind of the old school stuff. Like those are the guys and gals that inspired me. I like the work. I like this pursuit of greatness. Like we're going to touch greatness and we're going to do it by really putting ourselves through the turbine, so to speak, to get there. And, I paid attention. I've studied the people who came before me. I struggle with time management. I've got a full time job. Sometimes I'm working 10, 12 hours a day. And I still got to train about 3 or 4 hours a day,
Mm.
depending on the day. And the one thing I always remind myself, Ronnie Coleman he won 2 Olympias as a police officer. Okay. And he's the consummate comeback kid, right? This is a guy who could not catch a break. They tried to get that guy to retire before he ever won anything. And he just kept coming back and he kept doing the work. So that's what gets me excited, and that's what I'm leaning into. So gear culture is not something that I really celebrate. It's not something that I really, get excited about. I think it's a necessary evil when you get to a certain point in the sport. I think it's unavoidable. And then you kind of have to start making decisions. Like, how serious are you about getting to, let's say, the pro stage versus just, the top 5 on a pro stage versus, winning a pro show and going to the Olympia? Because now you're talking about really making some clear priorities and sacrifices and choices. So when you're talking about Olympia, you're talking about the top less than 1% of competitors on the global stage. And at that point, at the pro level, everybody's on top of their shit. Everyone's dieting. Everyone's doing the work. Everyone's doing protocol. Probably everyone's taking, everything that they need to do to look the way. So at that point, you're really talking about splitting the difference between the first person and the second person, with a fine tooth comb. And that might be based on, genetic advantages or disadvantages. Some people fill out better than others. Some people build better than others. Just because you take gear doesn't mean your body's going to respond the same way that someone else's body does. How you pose might be the difference. I mean, so you're talking about a lifestyle change if you're pursuing that level of greatness in the sport,
Mhm.
which is admirable. But you kind of have to think about, like, okay, we can get there, but what is life after bodybuilding going to look like if we do what we need to do to get there?
Yeah. My man Boss
So,
says, okay, he got you. And
yeah,
he also says, I love Margie's quads from the back. You love anything from the back, Balls D. And
I have to
yeah,
be honest. I love everything about Margie. She's got a fantastic physique. And I will say that obviously we know what some of the stuff that goes into female bodybuilding is, but I think there are a lot of really feminine bodybuilders out right now. Look at
yeah,
Andrea Shaw. I
most
think she's
definitely Andrew Shaw.
absolutely
Andrew Shaw.
beautiful.
Oh my God.
I
Andrew
think she's
Shaw.
gorgeous.
I mean Andrew Shaw, and also like Brooke Walker, as I mentioned. Who else I can think of? I get one lady I got to meet in person because I did an interview with her about a couple years ago. Sheena Olick. Sheena Olick.
Who?
She is Sheena Olick.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Sheena is. And I met Alina Popa. I went to my first barbie show in Savannah, and that was last year. And and I got to meet Sheena. I got to meet Sheena. We did an interview with her. I got to meet Donna Salih. I got to meet. I saw Linda because I saw a picture with you standing with Linda. I got to see Linda. She's sitting up in the front. She turned around. She smiled at me. I got a picture of it. It's on my other phone. And get to see her. I mean, she was like back in the day, beautiful, great physique. I wasn't
Amazing.
a big Linda Murray fan back then, but I really appreciate who she is now. And there are some amazing, beautiful. Yes, there are gonna be women who are gonna be a little bit, hard, a little gruff looking. They may have a chin like who I gotta think of who has a chin like George Clooney. But there are some women who are aesthetically pleasing, and people forget that. And when you talk about how even in the vision shape, like we talked about earlier, how say I don't want to give my femininity if I go with the female bodybuilding. But you know what? If you try to squeeze yourself in this division, in which you're starting to evolve, if you look at it, we said we were talking about look at Ashley Jones. I saw another lady who competed at the Olympia, Melissa Tyke. Those women are starting to evolve. You can't. I understand you don't want to go up because you feel like you're a physique competitor, but when you start getting those aesthetics, when you start getting we get broader shoulders, you get better lat development than some female bodybuilders. You can't pin yourself holding that spot. My man, Brooke Borrell, he has a question to ask. Miss Jerissa, when and how did you decide you wanted to join the sports of gods and goddesses known as bodybuilding? Yeah, he's a big fan. He's a big fan.
Well, it took me about 6 years from when I decided I wanted to be a bodybuilder to actually training to be one. So about 6 years ago, I knew that's something I wanted to pursue. And then just for disparate reasons, there were a couple of injuries, the pandemic at one point, finances. So there were a lot of setbacks that just prevented me from kind of going after it the way that I wanted to do it. I knew if I was going to try this bodybuilding thing out, I wanted to do it with, as good a conditions as I could personally control, right? It's never going to be perfect. So anyway, just at this point in my career, so last March, so I'll try to make this quick. So I actually went to the point of actually hiring a trainer who was local here in Chicago, and we were going to do a bodybuilding show. And he's like, okay, we've got a lot of work to do, but maybe if we do this show, he picked something that was about 11 months away. And he told me, maybe, just maybe, we'll be ready for it if you work really hard. And I actually wasn't making the kind of progress that I wanted. I was getting really frustrated. I, was following his diet plans and I was doing the workouts and I was actually gaining body fat and I was losing shape. I wasn't happy at all. And he was just like, oh, this is one of those things where you're going to look worse before you look better. Trust the process. And I did. We were friends. So I was going to stick with it. Let me tell you something. Look at how God works. So I went down to Atlanta for a wedding. I wasn't even supposed to be in town for that wedding that weekend, but it just so happened that things turned around. I made it down there. There was a gym down there that I had followed on Instagram for a really long time. And I said, hey, can I use your gym for a day? I'm in town for the weekend. I just need a place to train. Long story short, he invites me to train with his pros. His team is all of these. He's got male and female bodybuilders, but the ladies were in that weekend, 7 a.m. on a Saturday, come to our conditioning and, strength training workout, train with the team. So here I was with all of these beautiful Black female bodybuilders. And I was getting my ass kicked up and down that gym. I thought I worked hard in the gym until I got into that gym. And it completely changed my approach to everything and how I felt about how I was doing. Anyway, the coach pulls me aside. He's like, yeah, you've got potential. You could do physique easily. What's your plan? I was like, well, I was going to do this show in November. It was March at this point. He goes, no. He's like, I'll get you ready for Chicago Pro. And I said, do you know how soon that is? He's like, let me do my job. So I flew back to Chicago a day later. I fired that trainer and I hired that guy. And then we won Chicago Pro. So that's really kind of the origin story, so to speak. And it was my first time working with someone who was really plugged into the bodybuilding space. This local trainer I hired here is a former bodybuilder, never quite went pro, but is still on the scene. But this guy, he's got 56 pro cards, that he, helped to achieve and all of these things. So I learned a lot during my tenure on that team. And, I'm taking what I learned with him forward into this next chapter of bodybuilding, and we'll see what we get this year.
So you're kind of like one of my, when I'm seeing him do a lot of course movies because I love movies. And you met the professional, no women, no kids, and that's the thing. I know some ladies who say they work with coaches and said that it's not good to work with somebody who you're friends with. You want somebody who's a little more professional, who understands what needs to be done, especially as you know, women's bodies are totally different from men. I did an interview with a lady who she's a IFB Pro figure predator. She was under somebody as a coach for a long time, but then things weren't working out with that guy, and she decided to move on from him. And people would say, we judge people say, you know what, yeah, you move a coach, but if things doesn't work with you, it's like any kind of relationship. If it doesn't work, it's best to move on. You know, if you still be friends, you still be friends, not hate. You know, you lose a friend. But like I said, it's just about the process. And if you find the right person that fits your goal, that's a good thing. Now, folks, I'm gonna show some stuff from her social media. And you know, she said she went to Chicago. She wasn't too far. You need to go all the way to the other side of the world. And she won in women's physique. And you have three. I saw there was a picture. And there's just some pictures here. You know, right here. As you have a good time, getting ready in the chair. You know, who's the friend right there?
Oh gosh, that is one of my very best friends. That's Rachel. She's also a competitor, and I fully expect her to go pro this year.
Yeah, you're licking the pancakes.
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, like that food's like crack. It's like crack. And he's like calling you, like Pookie, be calling my name, man. You be calling my name, man. Be calling my name. Now, what you won in your class in your division, and what else? I see she had other. You were novice too.
Yeah, so I did novice, I did my class, and then I won the open.
Yeah, and there's your friend right there. She's cute.
Yes, she's amazing. She came fourth in nationals down in Orlando last year.
Yeah,
yeah, she did great.
Yeah, y'all both from party ladies.
Yeah.
Is that yeah. You had I think this is your first show, and you're getting down here, you're doing the kid and play dance. Oh yeah. I mean, and she was competing. Was she figure or which division she's in?
So Rachel is a figure athlete. And you know what? She's definitely someone you need to talk to. She's got an amazing story. Amazing story. And
well, if you can, just send me her link to her IG. If she has an email, I reach out to her because, like I said, I love to give your ladies who have the boots in the grounds, who's in the trenches, opportunity to tell your stories. Because the fact is, I remember a while back I did an interview with a lady. She said that, no one want to hear my story. I don't think I need to, but you never know. You might inspire somebody. And sometimes it's good to share these stories because this is what about my channel. My channel is to educate and also entertain people about the sport of bodybuilding, especially with you women. I'm a fan of you ladies. I've been a fan of bodybuilding since I was, my brother used to collect the old muscle mags. And, I grew up looking at a guy like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Lee Haney, Lita Brala, as you mentioned, Lou Ferrigno, Lou, the Incredible Hulk, and I follow these guys. This is a picture of you. This is before. It's a little thing here. And he come and see. That's a guy from Stranger Things, I think I remember. That's Snap. Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, you're really good. You get on your social media, and and you're dancing here. You're dancing, you have a good time. Get your little doggies. How many dogs you have?
So I have two. So this one that you were just looking at, I lost her last year.
Oh,
so
I'm
I was
sorry.
prepping for December Nationals last year when I lost her. So I actually ended up just not doing the show. So this is my first show after that happened. But yeah, I've got two big girls now. I've got two black lab mixes, and they're just awesome.
Let's see you go Kamehameha. Yeah. And like I said, there she is. I mean, that's a cute look. I have a sister. She had poodles, and she loved her poodles before she passed. And, she had a couple that passed, and she loved them. I remember one time she went out of town, and one of her poodles died, and my nephew had to bury him in the field. And she wished she didn't do it, but he had to do something. He couldn't wait for her to come back. He had to do what he had to do. What was her name?
So this is Nyota. She's actually named after Lieutenant Uhura from Star Trek. Oh
yeah, it was the late Michelle Nichols, or rest in peace to her.
Yes. So that's her namesake, and she was a great little one. But the little ones, they're just riddled with health problems, and it's kind of unpredictable. But she was a good one.
Yeah, I remember a couple of my sister's people's had. I remember one time they were great little dogs. My mom didn't like dogs in the house too much. She's a country woman. She was leaving dogs in the house. And they were one time I was sick, and I was sitting in the living room. My sister came by, check up on me, and I was, I had pneumonia, and little Pootie came up and jumped on me on the lay on the couch and laid with me till I fell asleep, and I liked that. It was nice. And here's some pictures from the wow, what amazing, great Adams, and it was when you won, that expression in your face, right here, like I said right here, that expression on your face when you won. I mean, he got the sword up. You like Shira. I have the power.
Oh my God. Yes, man. It was such a long road getting there. And, I gave up a lot. I lost friendships over this stuff, and I mean, bodybuilding, you lose the ability to do the things you always feel like you want to do, right? It's discipline over motivation. So that was such a huge release of a moment. And, it was cool. And this picture of me here, like that chubby girl, like that's, she went through a lot to get me to where I am today. And I was just really taking that all in then, it's a
Just
good
said,
feeling.
yeah, you said you were like a cocoon. Just came out of a cocoon as a butterfly. And then you did an interview. You were Iris Kyle.
Yes.
Powerhouse.
Yeah, I got to meet
Today,
her and
who do we
he.
have the pleasure of speaking with today?
Hi, my name is Jerissa Upton from Chicago, Illinois.
Jerissa, we actually welcome you to Powerhouse Las Vegas, the first powerhouse in the state of Nevada and also the city of Las Vegas.
Thank
So thank you
you.
for coming.
You got to meet the 10-time Miss Olympia.
Yes, and she's invited me back. So I'm actually hoping to get to Vegas this year because, she promised me a workout and I fully intend to go and get it because I just love her. She's
Yeah,
amazing.
I think women like Iris changes the face of bodybuilding. I think Linda, Iris, a couple others, they changed the face of bodybuilding for the last what it used to be. Like you go back, bodybuilding started out like it was almost like bikini. It was like almost like bikini, and then it evolved. And then after a while, ladies kick off the high heels. Then you had Drake McLeish. You had Corey Everson, Andrea Langer, Juliet Bergman. Then you had Linda Murray, Laura Craval, Roddy Coleman's ex-girlfriend, Miss Vicky Gates. I love Vicky Gates. She's just, I was a big Vicky Gates fan, still am. And then you go up to, Kim Zavetsky, just the next generations of women coming up. I mean, there was a great debate where back in 2014, they said that Alina Popa could have won that show, but, they gave it to Iris. And this is the story was, as you know, and I'm gonna quote. I'm like I said before. I'm gonna do a lot of movie quotes. And one of my favorite movies is the whole Chris Nolan Batman Begins. And you remember in the movie where Liam Neeson, who played Harry DeCott, aka Ra's al Ghul, was talking to Bruce Wayne at training, and and he said, be aware, surrounded all the time, young Master Wayne. And that part where it was in the house, I'm talking to Bruce. Whenever you have an enemy and you want to take care of them, you walk quietly behind them and stab them in the heart. And that's what IFBB and what Arnold Schwarzenegger did a few years ago when they pushed women's bodybuilding out of the stage. And it was a struggle for them, don't mind me, that's my brother. And it was a struggle for these ladies, to find a place for themselves. And that's why your division was created, right? When Physique was created, was opportunity for women to have a stage. So, and we'll go back to the pictures here. And, you really have, come your way because, like I said, like here, how you started, you're a little chunky girl, and then you found your niche and your place, and you worked your way up. And also, you're training hard, you're trying to build, you're building yourself up. And, the process of bodybuilding is a tough process. But you had to put a lot of work in, a lot of time in, and I respect when you ladies what you do and how you do these things. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, I wish I had that same mentality, but sometimes I'm kind of, I'm a little bit of the fickle side, sometimes, But I do, like I said, was a few years ago, I was almost 400 pounds. Because I was taking care of my mother. She was sick, and I was, people tell me, Joe, you need to take care of yourself, but I got to take care of her. She's my first responsibility. And then I decided after she passed, I said, you know what, I got to make some changes. So I was like around 274, 475. And that was about almost 3 years ago. And now I'm at 400 pounds. And, it's just a weird process of things, Right here we got my man, Brooke Burrell, and he says that you are a very, very, very beautiful queen.
Thank you so
Also,
much.
he says, Miss Jerissa, how do you juggle your time between having a 9 to 5 and a job being a kick-ass bodybuilder?
You know what? I'm still asking the question. I actually have two jobs. So I do my main role for the healthcare network, but I'm also a personal trainer. And so I train about 8 clients a week. And the balance of time has been the hardest part of this entire thing because I can work out until I'm blue in the face and I can eat the way that I'm supposed to eat, but sleep is a huge factor in all of this. Like it really changes the physique. So I've had to get really creative. So sometimes I sleep at odd hours. I don't always get my sleep in consecutive order, right? I might not sleep like a straight 7 to 8 to 9 hours, but there might be an opportunity for me to grab 20 minutes here and there. But also something I like to do, and I'm thankful for the flexibility in my current role to be able to do it, but I'll literally kill myself, the first 2 or 3 days of the week so that I have lighter days to kind of focus on my training. And so I kind of try to split my time up that way too, so that I'm able to kind of create a better balance. I will say it's not a perfect balance. I know I'd be a better bodybuilder if I was only a bodybuilder. But we make time for the things that we're passionate about. So I kind of try to structure out my week in ways that give me a little bit more flexibility. And because my job is mostly hybrid now, so I'm only in the office 1 day a week, if that. So there are days when instead of working from home, I'll actually work from the gym. And so I can actually grab sets of things in between meetings or grab cardio on my lunch break or whatever. I stay at the gym and, I work from there. I have an office there too. So
yeah. So you're a gym babe. Like gym like you're gym bras, gym braids. I'm like, hey bra, you get look at me bra, you get that bra. It's just yeah. I mean, it's good that you have a respectful job because you work in the medical field, and I thank you respect for you for what you do because dealing with my mother, I learned a good amount how what y'all go through the medical field. I used to talk about casework and stuff like that. And to find that time and to have the flexibility, I think everything kind of changed when the pandemic hit. Where now, one thing that changes things is wars and pandemics. New technologies. A lot of people doing stuff from home. I mean, a lot of people do like this StreamYard thing. That's really grew because of the fact of when people like do Zoom or they do Hangout and all those other things. And that's a good thing that you can. You just got to go to your job, say, hey, take a coffee, say, I'm out. I'll see y'all next weekend. And and that's a good thing you find a job like that. I used to hold 2 jobs. I used to work in textiles. And my first job was I used to work at a gas station. Then I was working in textiles. And then after that, I was working I was working in my part-time job was I worked in the gentleman's club. And and that's a big difference. What?
I said, oh.
Oh yeah, I used to work in a gentleman's club, and and I had guys telling me, say, "Man, you work with all those girls, man. You work with all those girls, man." And all those women say, no, dude, like this. If it's a good day, and the money's good, no problems. But if not making no money and things getting tight, there'll be problems. And people got to understand. But yeah, it's good that you had a flexible job. We got my man here, KLA the Wanderer. He also does content on bodybuilding. And he has been around for real. Hello, he says hello. He likes to says hello. And my man Ball says salute to KLA. Also, KLA likes to ask you, what motivates you to be a bodybuilder? What like I said, I think you all can't explain it, but if you want to explain it for him, because I think he missed it, share it with you. What really motivates you?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'd be happy to circle back to this. So I think bodybuilding is a really beautiful context that symbolizes a universal truth across every pursuit, whether it's bodybuilding, a career, art, no matter what the goal is. And the simple thing is this: beautiful things come from really challenging processes. It's kind of like that cliche, like, oh, forged by fire. You know, cliches become cliches. Uh-oh, what happened to my screen here?
Oh,
Hold on, I lost you. Can you still see? Oh, there you go.
yeah,
Cliches become cliches because they hold some truth, right? And bodybuilding is just a beautiful example of how pain breeds beauty. And, you know, there's big reward from kind of sticking things out in a way that's disciplined. And, you know, it even goes back to scripture if you really want to go back there, you know, for we glory in our suffering, for suffering brings, you know, character brings perseverance, all of these things. And that's a huge motivating force for me. I'm someone who I think actually struggles with executive dysfunction. Executive dysfunction being an inability to follow through on things sometimes. Bodybuilding forces me to show up for myself every single day. No matter if I have the best coach, the best nutrition plan, the best gym, the best resources, if I don't show up and do the work, I don't get the result. And, you know, you saw some of my pictures of where I started. You know, I almost gave up on myself, and I didn't think I could do any better for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, bodybuilding was kind of a pathway, a doorway to walk through, if you will, that kind of showed me that, yeah, like I can do not only can I do bodybuilding, I can do a lot of things, and I can do them really well.
Yeah. My man Balls Deep, he says, what side of Chicago she's from. And also he wondering, one other thing he wants is she single? I don't know, Balls Deep. Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with the first question. So technically, I'm not from Chicago, right? I'm from Tampa, but I'm a Chicago transplant, and I'm from the Loop, so like Art Institute, like downtown, like Chicago proper. That's my hood, if you will. Um, and am I single? Technically, no, because bodybuilding takes all of my time. I feel like that is my relationship right now. But no, I'm currently not attached to anyone in particular. But
Knowing humor.
there hasn't been time. There really
Yeah.
hasn't been time.
I'm saying I never been had relationships. I had relations. That's a different thing. But yeah, I can
That's
say
different.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
totally. My man KL says like those pictures on her IG. I would check her out. Appreciate it, KL. Also, folks, if you want to check out Jerissa, she has an IG. You can check her out. But you know what? You gotta be cautious. I gotta say it's Jerissa because if I don't say it, there's guys out here. Dudes, no D pics. Don't do that. I know she's cute. She's a cute girl. She's a nice piece of little fluff. But you guys out there, I know when you see the pictures, I know when you see the women, they got the tanning on, they got the oil sprayed on them, they're buff, you get that little pop tint in your shorts. Be respectful. Don't send that stuff to these ladies. They don't want to see this stuff. They don't want to see that. No. No. Women don't, even regular women don't like to see that shit. So stop it. Stop it. Before you do it, think about it. That's borderline sexual harassment. I remember this is true story. It's a lady I become friends with. We were on IG just talking back and forth. So doing the IG, she let somebody join in. Okay, probably somebody she knew because you wouldn't know anybody joining just because you do it. And she the guy pulled out his pants in the middle of our conversation. I mean, I used to play football. I've seen guys get naked, but hey, that's the last thing I want to do is see it while I'm on IG. My man, Brooke Brown says, Queen Jerissa, do you have any advice for inspiring bodybuilder who is in a wheelchair, who has type 2 diabetes, whose dream is to be a bodybuilder? He always asks this because he's a big fan of bodybuilding, and he's wondering, what would you say to him if he was inspired to be a bodybuilder, especially what you've been through?
Honestly, be a bodybuilder. I mean, listen, our circumstances do not define us. And I think it's probably true that all of us are walking wounded or encumbered in some way. We're all carrying something. Be a bodybuilder. If that's really your passion, you really just have to do it. There are stages for you. The gym is open for you. And guess what? There are nutrition plans and diets and things for people who are dealing with diabetes and all other sorts of, conditions and metabolic diseases and things of that nature. My thing is, don't kind of get weighed down in things that are not necessarily going right. Focus on the things that you can control and kind of force them to go in the direction that you want. Because it's so easy to let circumstances deter us from the things that we want. And then we wake up years later kind of wondering, like,
still there?
Oh, I'm still here.
All right. I was wondering what was going on.
Did you lose me?
No, I got you now. Technology is crazy.
Yay.
But yeah, that's true. My man Balls Deep, I think he's following your IG.
Thank
he
you.
says she's beautiful. Chocolate muscle is not easy to resist. I'll tell you, like I said, being a black man from the South, I was raised by my mother and my three older sisters. I love black women. I love women in general, but I love black women especially. And it's just a beauty about black skin and muscle. It's just something beautiful about it. When you see, people like Andrea Shaw, Linda Murray, people like Margie V. Martin and Ashley Jones and all these other ladies, because next month's Black History Month, and I do a thing. I dedicate some stuff on women for Black history in sport of bodybuilding, and it's just a beautiful thing about y'all ladies, and different hues, different colors, different shades. It's just a beautiful thing. No offense to any other women who are of another ethnicity, being white, being Latino, being Asian. You're all beautiful women, but I'm saying, being a black man, I think I love my sisters more. My sisters are mellow.
Yes. You know what? I think I found my tribe here. You guys,
you're the queen. You're the queen. You're the queen. I'm just bow to the queen. Bow to the queen.
Wait, stop.
Make me your commander of the north, the protector of the wall. But then there's that other guy. He comes out every now and then.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. And Jerissa, you are beautiful. You complete me.
That's a pretty good impression.
I've been working on it for a long time. I like I said, I'm a big fan of the whole Chris Nolan series. I love the first two Batmans. I had my man asked.
You're a DC guy.
I like I collect comic books too. Most of my comics I have is more DC than it's Marvel. If I look through it, I have more X-Men stuff. I don't have that many others like Spider-Man or I have more like Superman, Batman, Flash, Justice League. I'm more of a DC person than I am of Marvel. I like the X-Men. I love the X-Men. Not so much as more of the Marvel stuff. I don't have that many Iron Mans. I think I got a few Iron Mans, some Captain Americas, but mostly I love DC. I'm a DC fan. I like the MCU. I'm kind of disappointed when they did the Henry Cavill. I mean, that's just I'm not a big fan of Ben Affleck's Batman. I like Christian Bale. Everybody talk about that one scene, the one fight scene in Batman versus Superman. That one fight scene, yeah. But Christian Bale, his Batman was rooted within reality, where with the training determination, like the old saying, like I said, like if you're a man, if you have a purpose of something, and you want to get to that next level, you can be legend. Yeah. My man Balls, he says he had a dope dog. Also, my man KL the Wanderer, they have fun in those videos. Yeah, she had a lot of fun with the videos. Catch Joy Time in Chicago. And also, he say he's my man says he said also he once says wait. I clicked it. Wait a minute. These things right. I clicked it. He also wants you says good luck in getting your pro card. That thing. And George, how you retain this info in your brain, because if you have my brain, you understand how my brain works. You understand the game. It's not too difficult. You just have to take things and put them in sections and then just
George, you and I are going to have another conversation about this comic stuff. I know that's not why we're here today.
Wait, let's go ahead. It's fun. Let's go ahead.
Okay, okay. So first of all, DC characters on the whole, some of them are cool. Marvel has better. And I'm talking about character development and storyline. Batman is probably the best person. Batman and Wonder Woman are like the best two parts of the DC universe, in my opinion. Other and that's just in general. Now, cinematic universes, Marvel hands down. DC makes really shit movies. I'm sorry to tell you that.
They make better
Even though
they make better animated movies than Marvel.
the
And better
animation
and better
one,
yeah, better animated movies than Marvel. You know, we had the great late actor who played the voice for the old animated series, Kevin Conroy, rest in peace. Grew up. This is something I saw. I was on YouTube, and someone took a video, made a video. It was an animated video. I'll send you later. When I think I have it on my phone. I'll send you later. It's of that last scene at the end, around the end of Dark Knight, where Harvey is on the ground, and Kevin Conroy's voice. He's the voice instead of hear Christian Bale's voice. He's talking to "Sit the dogs on me." Yeah. He did that. That whole. I love that because and just hearing him saying that, and I love when Christian Bale played it, but when hearing Kevin Conroy do it, it's so great. But yeah, go ahead, carry on.
no. There's merit in some of it, and you know, leaving the animated films, sure, you can have that, but you have to admit that some of those movies have been dumpster fires. Like some of them have been absolutely terrible. Not to say that there haven't been some good ones. So the first Wonder Woman movie, really well done. Even though not necessarily connected, I don't think, with the actual DC studio, unless you know if it is. Like the Joker movie, that was
It
good.
wasn't really connected.
It wasn't connected.
Mm,
Maybe that's why it was
mm,
good. But
mm. I,
I do like the Christian Bale movie. I do like the Christian Bale movie. And what did you think of what's his name? The kid from Twilight. I liked his version of Batman. I thought it was
you
cool.
mean Patterson? I don't know. I haven't really seen
Yeah.
it yet.
Oh, it was
I
good.
think Black Adam was like I see some Black Adam. It's a little decent. I kind of like I like The Rock. Hey, it's The Rock. It's The Rock. It's The Rock. It's The Rock.
Okay, let
Rudy
me tell
Poo.
you something.
What?
Let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something.
I
Fab
I
Master
will
Bill.
always I will always be a fan of Dwayne Johnson, and I'll support his project. But that was not, and the graphics in that movie were awesome. Like the fight scenes were really fun. But that was a poorly written movie. Another one in a series for DC.
Well, what about having
DC
the
has which one?
Thor, the last Thor, Thor, he had to fight Batman.
Okay. I didn't love the last Thor movie, but that's probably like one L in a series of like 22 movies.
And what about even though I love the original Wakanda Forever, I love Black Panther. I have two Black Panther shirts. Love Chadwick Boseman. The last Black Panther was kind of
it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. But
it wasn't bad, but it wasn't as good as it should have been.
You know why it wasn't as good as it should have been?
Chadwick.
Well, Chadwick missing, but also, and I know it doesn't go with the comics, right? Because, but I actually think they should have found a way to bring Killmonger back. That would have saved it. That would have been crazy.
Well, they brought him back, but he was a ghost.
No, they should have brought him back as the Black Panther.
What they could have done like with Doctor Strange, the alternative realities thing like that.
Something.
Yeah, but you know what? It could have been a great. Too bad that they had that part where we saw Shuri said, "Hey, cuz." That would have been good. He said, like, remember that part where you saw Angela Bassett say, "Hey, auntie." Yeah. But it's right now. That's the debate. Give me a second. Talk to my people while I take care of this phone. I know people.
How do I talk to your people? Where's everybody's messages? Oh gosh, I didn't know that I could see these comments. Oh gosh, okay. I'm just now seeing all of you guys' messages. Balls Deep says, I can train you anytime. I'd be happy to. If you're in Chicago, come find me. I train at Cheetah in Andersonville. Do I have other sports that I'm a fan of? Yeah, I love football, specifically college football. It's my jam. I'm an Ohio State fan. If you are a Michigan person, don't talk to me. don't talk to me if you're a Wolverine fan. Buckeyes in the house.
Wolverine. I thought you liked Marvel.
Uh-uh.
Wolverine.
Buckeyes in the house. Not for
Well,
football.
you're from Florida. Why not Seminoles or the Gators? I mean,
Oh gosh, I hate the Gators. Like no, from Florida for Florida, yeah, maybe FSU. I'm also a USF fan because I went to high school near campus there. But no, I was born in Ohio. I'm an Ohio sports fan. Like yes, from a professional sports perspective, it makes things harder. But college football, we have the Buckeyes. I'm sticking with them. Um, but I also like hockey, so I follow the Tampa Bay Lightning. I do follow the Tampa Bay Bucks. So football is probably my next favorite. I get into basketball sometimes, but for me, basketball is just one of those things where I feel like the basketball season is never over. Like, I don't know, like it's cool, but like I can only watch so much of it.
well,
But I would say football is my other jam.
yeah, I don't like. 'Cause I don't watch football much like I used to when I was younger. I mean, I kind of after the whole Colin Kaepernick thing, I kind of like And basketball, I watch it I might glance every now and then. I'm more. One thing I used to grow up watching. I grew up watching boxing. I was a big boxing fan. Mike Tyson, the great one, Muhammad Ali. I mean, people like those guys. I was a fan of. Roy Jones Jr. I mean, Floyd Mayweather. I mean, and also now on my channel I do a lot of content on MMA. And I'm a fan of MMA. I really pay more attention to women because we're there about women and bodybuilding, women in mixed martial arts. You have the similar kind of background in a way. You have a passion for a sport. You don't get paid as much money. You put a lot more into it. You get out of it. And there's so much. Like I did an interview with a lady who was a IFBB fitness pro, but now she is a MMA fighter. She told me when she was doing MMA fighting, her MMA fighting would pay for a prep for her fitness. So sometimes she had to get on makeup because she had come in there, you have black eyes like that, and and that would pay for her fighting. Her fighting would pay for her competitions and for a prep, and and that's why I see some similarities between bodybuilding and MMA. That's why I do a lot of content on it. My man Paul just says, damn George. Yeah, damn, what? Yeah, I say. Yeah, he says also, he said, you could train me anytime, like he said earlier. My man Baldy says, Book Brown says, Queen Jerissa, do you have any other sports you are a fan of? And I said you mentioned earlier you're a fan of soccer, of football, and and then of hockey. Black people don't play too much. George, you ever thought about getting a personal trainer? I don't know, but then again, it costs money. Yeah, I live on a budget. KL, I can't. I barely afford where I'm living now. Lucky I live where a place where rent's not too expensive and my light bill's not too expensive. I do have a couple of roommates to help me out every now and then, but generally, I can't afford anything. That's a jackass move. The guy pulling down his pants to get attention from these ladies. That's the thing is, and the thing is, this is what I talk about. How some guys be on social media, and like I said, you're an attractive young lady. But then they say like, she wants to be a man, she wants to be this, she wants to that. And then they make comments. Like I know ladies who I follow, I see stuff like that, they're making comments like that. And then you have some guys who are, like I said, undercover brothers who say like, you know what, they talk junk to be on your social media, but then you go your DMs say, Jerissa, you're kind of cute. You think I can holler at you? It'd be like these guys are like, you'd be with a chick, she might be a little fat, she might be ugly, but then they like her, and then you say, "Nah, I can't have you around here. I can't meet my family, can't meet my friends. You're my undercover girlfriend."
To tell you, George, my inbox is wild. So I've gotten some crazy DMs. So like there are a couple of people who are just like, oh, like too masculine, which I know I'm far from it. And also my understanding of feminine beauty might be different than some people's, and that's okay. Like I think muscle bound women are the most beautiful, and that's just my personal opinion. And there've been like a couple of people who tried to be like, oh, like whatever. And I'll be like, listen, if you don't have any muscle, just say that, like, but don't make it a problem on my page. But no, I have gotten some of the strangest like muscle worship requests in my inbox. So I'll tell you about one of the strangest. This one guy came into my inbox and it started off normal enough, right? Like, oh, you're pretty, oh, bodybuilder, whatever. And then he's like, oh, like, can we be accountability buddies or whatever? And I was like, oh, I don't really have time, but like, sure, like, let me know how you're doing from time to time. He's like, no, what I want you to do is if I can't keep up with my workouts or my nutrition, I have to give you money for things. And I was like, oh, what? And he's like, yeah. He goes, that'll be my punishment. I'm going to buy you things every time I mess up. And then came the pictures. So that's probably one of the strangest. But then like every day somebody's messaging me about their love for muscle and they want flexing pictures and things like that. People have offered me money for pictures and things like that. Like the DMs are wild. They're wild.
Yeah, because the thing is that a lot of those guys who we're schmoes, we're family ladies, we like ladies, and some guys are more moderate schmoes. They like to follow you. They don't want to, and some guys are extreme schmoes who like me. Suggest I remember one lady who we become friends with. She sent me this one thing one time. She said, "Oh, this guy sent me this," and the guy said to her like he wanted her to and say, well, yeah, so I think what it is because I think guys get aroused when you ladies get a good pump and you see that bicep growing and you see the veins popping and
you know what I do too.
and you're like, it's over. Give me a cigarette. And it's just the thing is that the fetish thing, even on the fetish end of it, guys still make more than women. Because if you look at the fan base, if you look over here at the men. Is if you know the pimping culture, the men in bodybuilding are, excuse my language, the bottom bitches. They're the ones who bring the money in, who bring the attention, and then you have after that, out of the women is bikini, and then you have wellness now, figure, and your figure was brought in supposed to be more of a feminine touch with body because you have fitness. Fitness was created because other ladies didn't want to push that next level in bodybuilding. But, even if you look at those divisions now, they're starting to meld. If you look at some of the figure girls, I like, they're starting to look closer to women's physique, what women's physique was supposed to be. Great lines, good definition, a little bit more femininity. And we were talking about earlier, if you look at in the physique division, how some of the women are getting closer, but it's just a thin line. And the judging criteria it's just the one thing about it. Yeah, keep changing. You'll be saying, you'll see one show, we will go to one show, the girl who wins, they say she wasn't in that bad position. Then you go to another show and another girl who was like sky-rated. Just everything popping. She who was at the same show with the girl who beat her wins this show. And said, it's just changing, my man, Brooke Royale, Queen Jerissa, you have a fan in me for life. That's a good thing. You got a good fan. Also, my man, KL the Wondering, that's a jackass. Oh, he already said that earlier. I said that. I got some of these guys are writing so much stuff. I'm trying to keep up with all of it. KL said Black History Month is overrated. It's Black History Year. We should have a year, but we should move it to August. There's nothing going on in August. It's long, And also, he says the Christian Bale Batman was good, but I wasn't all that. Hey!
But it was the best one out of all of them so far that I've seen.
I think other than that, you go with Christian Bale, you go with Michael Keaton. The worst is George Clooney. Yes, I like Val Kilmer. I think he was a decent Batman. But he had that affair and I messed up his job. That's why I gave his show. I remember one time I was watching this movie. Remember the Wild Wild West movie with Will Smith? They cast the wrong person for that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Val Kilmer. If you ever saw Tombstone, Doc Holliday.
Yeah.
Val Kilmer would have been perfect as Jim West. That I'll be Huckleberry John.
I'll be your Huckleberry. He said, I'm your Huckleberry. I'm your Huckleberry. I actually have a knife. His name is Huckleberry. I name all of my things, by the way. Fun fact about me. I have a knife called Huckleberry.
Yeah. Daisy if you do, Daisy if you don't. And I think Jim Carrey would have better Artemis Gordon than Kevin Kline. Yeah, because he can really do. He's a comedian. He can do characters better. He can switch over. I like Kevin Kline. He's a good actor, but I think that role is more to a comedian than an actor who's done comedy.
Yeah,
yeah.
I would agree with that assessment.
Also, he's assaulting again. Black Adam wasn't all that. Forget you, KL. Forget you.
Agree.
Forget you
Agree.
too. Forget you too.
Agree. It was very poorly written.
Too much feminism in Black Panther, I heard. Maybe because Black Panther action, you follow the comics, sure it did become the Black Panther. I mean, they could have did a storyline which, this I remember I talked about on my channel how they could find the right actor to replace Chadwick when he died. But MCU said we didn't want to replace Chadwick. But after what happened with the this movie, I think they're planning on pushing the son, or they could have, he could have found another actor. Come on, how many Batmans, how many Supermans have been played? How many actors played those roles? How many James Bonds have been? They could have found you could have found the right actor. Just find the right actor.
My only problem with it, and obviously the cast is the cast, and I think they did a decent job. I'm not saying it was bad, but my problem overall with female characters in superhero movies is they never really choose women who look close to what superheroes would actually look like. Go back to DC. Look at all of the Amazons and like the mascara. So all of those ladies, some of those actors who were like background characters in the mascara, they were actually CrossFitters and female bodybuilders. But Gal Gadot, she's pretty in the face, and she doesn't have a superhero body. She's got a beautiful body, but not a superhero body. Same thing with Shuri, the actress who plays her, a beautiful woman to be sure, but like a female Black Panther, I would love to see someone with a V taper and shoulders and an arm and really big thighs and like a real body, I
would
think
you like a Lola Montez or maybe
like
Sneak Gillen?
Paula would be a great superhero. Black Panther.
And I remember in Wonder Woman 2, one of the women who played Artemis, the Black woman, that was legendary boxer Anne Brown Sugar Wolf. She played Artemis, and Artemis in the comics was the woman who replaced Wonder Woman, Diana, when she lost her powers like that. And Gal Gadot, she's a good actress. I like her, but I know one lady she's talking. She was offered somebody interested plays in Wonder Woman, but they said the casting people didn't want a female bodybuilder. I mean, they didn't want a woman that's too muscular.
Well, that's the thing. And it goes back to that very niche thing, right? So we think muscular female physiques look great. And sometimes it's easy for me to forget that, that's not really the majority opinion when people look at what femininity looks like. I've had personal training clients, like really petite little things, like little girls, I train them. The one girl, I can follow her eyes. She's looking me up and down, and I've just worked out, so my arms are huge and whatever. She goes, "Yeah, I want to look good, but I don't want to get too big." And the thing I always tell people, I was like, you can't accidentally trip over a weight and accidentally get big. You can't accidentally do one too many reps of something and get huge. I said, the look that you don't like is not something that happens by accident. Like, you're not going to accidentally get huge by lifting a couple of heavy weights. But yeah, it doesn't appeal to a lot of people, and that's fine. Fine. But they have to
use the word tone, so be very comfortable. Like, I just want to be toned. I don't want.
And guess what? Toning is another word for building muscle. It's the same shit. So my specialty within personal training space is hypertrophy. I'm a hypertrophy coach. I'm always going to teach people how to build bodies aesthetically and beautifully. Like, everybody who is working towards a better aesthetic is a bodybuilder. You might not be trying to get to the bodybuilding stage. You want a beach body, you want whatever. It's bodybuilding because you are strategically piling on muscle to get a certain look. I don't use that toning bullshit. We're putting on muscle. We're doing the work.
Yeah. My man KL says like this. He said, George, you were a baby when Ali was fighting. you was watching those old clips. Yes, I was born in '74, KL. Yeah, I watched the old clips. He kept up fighting up to 80 by 82, 83. So yeah, I saw some of his stuff, but yeah, I watched about the Mike Tyson area. Mike did like I remember Mike Tyson did interview say, "I don't talk to women unless we're gonna fornicate." So are we? So we're gonna that was wild. I like Mike. He was wild. The boy was wild. Also, Jerissa is a celebrity on the DMs. You have any celebrity you like or who you're a fan of?
In general or in bodybuilding?
Both, in general, and both in bodybuilding.
Um, well, definitely within bodybuilding to be sure. Like a lot of people from like, the great, the golden era in bodybuilding. People today. So I still think so I can tell you this. I love Sarah Viega and her attitude in creating spaces for women's physique competitors, especially as opportunities to compete seem to start getting smaller and smaller. Like we don't have women's physique at the Arnold's for the pro show and things like that. So, I love athletes like her just as ambassadors of the sport. But also I actually going back to what you said, how the judging changes. I still think the epitome of what women's physique ought to really look like is Shanique Grant. I think she's the best women's physique Miss Olympia will ever have because it was bigger, more conditioned figure. And she was just a genetic monster. Like, I mean, I know she's kind of another controversial character, just talking to some people who have had encounters with her. She was a local here in Chicago for a long time. I know a lot of people who have dealt with her. Putting all of that aside, aesthetically, I think she's probably, I mean, I'll always kind of fangirl over her contribution to the Olympia stage. I think she's one of the best Miss Olympias we've had. Dana Lynn Bailey is another one. I'm a fan of her. She couldn't win today. She wouldn't even qualify today. But again, we're changing the standard constantly. But what she did when women's physique was new and, bringing attention to the division, I mean, it was huge. And she built a platform off of it. I'm sure a lot of the really great women's physique competitors we have in the sport today started watching DLB. And, so I'll always appreciate her for that contribution too. And then like other celebrities, I mean, yeah, I try not to lean too much into celebrity fan culture. I tend to find out, and it's true for everyday people too. Like if you start to learn too much about people you admire for one specific reason, you learn too much about their life and it kind of detracts from the things that you really appreciate them for. I'd rather focus on their work and their output and what they're putting into my space, right? So I'll always be appreciator of art and film and music and things like that. But there are no celebrities that I follow like really closely or anything like that.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Arnold. Arnold, we used to watch. You show the Conan Barbarian. Remember, you saw the commercial with Luma Siding, and they show either Good or Bad and Ugly, Conan Barbarian, or one of the other westerns like that. And Arnold, but then with Mickey Maker's content and people I come, have made friendships with, Arnold's an asshole. I mean, the stuff I've learned. Then we get to in 2013, back 2013, he pushed out when bodybuilding for the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic. They push out physique. They push out figure. I said
figure. But you know why? You know why though. So okay, so you know why, and it's not really an Arnold decision. Like they're using his name, but it's not really his thing. I don't think they can afford it. So if you remember last year at the UK show, Arnold refused to even go to the Arnolds in the UK because they weren't sure they could actually pay the cash prize money to the overall winners that was owed. It was this big thing. And I also learned recently that promoters who put on these shows or organizations like the group that puts on the Arnolds, they have to pay a fee for every single division that has competing competitors. So there's a cost to actually put on the show for every division that you're putting on. On the men's side, that's where a lot of the ticket pricing and the money come from. That's who people are really coming to see. On the women's side, and it goes back to our overall conversation about feminine beauty, right? People are coming to see bikini girls because guess what? When you get to figure, you get real poses. Physique, women's physique, you get real poses. Bodybuilding, it's the same poses. bikini girls and wellness girls, they work hard and they look freaking amazing, but literally the posing is ridiculous to me. They literally have to present, they're literally presenting their buttocks and their other regions to the stage. You turn around and you poke it out. And it's just not like, but that's what people are paying to see. And those two divisions by themselves will make more ticket price money than the other three divisions, physique, figure, bodybuilding combined.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you it was a financial thing.
Yeah, I understand about fair play, but still, I know they still have the amateur. They almost didn't have the honors or amateurs this year, but they somehow saved it. But they still make money off those ladies who compete over the amateurs because they can, they just added women's bodybuilding for this year, and they still make money off of it. But then these ladies don't like. I know some ladies who did Chicago Pro, and after they got the pro card, they did they did the main show. I know one lady I met a while back in Fayetteville because I met her at a ceremony with Rashada Boswell, and she's competing at the Arnold. She got a pro card that show, and then did the main show no more than maybe a few hours later. And I know some ladies who want to say, we still want Arnold supposed to be a big show, one of the biggest shows around. We want to have a place there. But I don't know if fitness is going to be much longer or not, because those ladies. If you look at Missy Trescott, she is getting I'm surprised she won, because I think if Whitney Jones competed last year, she probably would have beat her, because Whitney has that more feminine, athletic look. Missy, I follow on social media. This chick, she got guns like some physique competitors, yeah. It's just Arnold. Respect to him as I don't say as a businessman. But his standpoint is that even though, like this, you said about this again, if you say women's physique, you still have more stages than women's bodybuilding. And, and they changed qualifications for this season, no more points. So you have to win a show and that's it. You can't qualify by points anymore. And it's just, and some of this, and it's only, like I said, I think it's only maybe 8 or 9 shows for anybody to qualify. So when you have the 3 women who already qualified, that's, Hella, Angela, Andrea, and then you have to wait. You have to rise in Phoenix, but if Andrea compete that show, that means that it doesn't give nobody else a qualification. Yeah, right. that shouldn't really count as qualification. It's like when Iris was competing both in Olympia and the Miss International, that took away a secondary title for somebody. Say, I'm not gonna be able to be Iris. I'm not gonna be Iris. So let me have this title here. But now, if the Miss Olympia is competing in this secondary title, let's take, because they weren't giving much money for women back then. It was like $25,000 for Miss Olympia. You should be at least get $50,000 or $60,000. You should get more. And I talk about this how guys like Heidi Chopin and a big Rom walk away with nearly $500,000, while people like Natalia, Sarah, Andrea walk away. I think Andrea gets at least $50,000 as Miss Olympia, and she gets $50,000 at Rising Phoenix, and she gets a car. And Andrea and Natalia and Sarah get, but Sarah's a rich man's wife, so and those 2 ladies get $40,000. And the other divisions, and it almost say, "Oh, we'll raise the prize money," because he had 4 guys drop out, Blessing and a couple of guys dropped out from the Arnold Classic. They just shoved up to the for men's bodybuilding for $300,000. That's just $1,000 less than the Olympia. If you can put up money for that much, from ticket sales like that, you can disperse the wealth. I think is fair. I mean, if you can use the excuse that, well, if people go see the men and pay tickets for it, that's the women part of the show too. So, why not just be fair and pay, give them just as much. I'm not saying they deserve to get $300,000. At least I would say maybe $1,000, $100,000. Come on, $100,000 will go a long way for some of these, because like I said again, it costs more for y'all to compete. Not just counting your price of your food, price of travel, your suits, your training, your expenses. Women, it takes more y'all to look. So guys got to put on some spray tan. Maybe some guys don't have maybe a little mousse, so just shave their heads and put on a banana hammock, a pair of boy shorts, and they're on the stage. Ladies, you have to get dolled up. Like we gotta go to your house for a date. We're ready. We just got shit, shirt, and shave. That's it. We gotta wait for y'all to get ready. We gotta wait for this girl to get ready. God, the restaurants go say. That's why, guys, anytime you get on a date, set things maybe an hour ahead in advance just in case, something happens. But it's so much. You always got to go through a lot of hoop jumping, and you don't get the same recognition. You'll see, I'm not saying you deserve the same money, but you do at least serve something for what you put into the sport. My man, Kale, he's always talking shit. The bottom bitches, how you come up with this? Hey, it's easy. It's true. That's what men's bodybuilding are. It's like if you know the pimping culture. I watch a show HBO called it was the one about pimping. And you learn some stuff, and they tell you that if you're the woman making the most money, you're the bottom bitch. That's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. That's what men bodybuilders are. They're the ones who make the most money. Also, he has the worst Batman on TV show is 60s plus. Hey! How dare you talk about the Great Lake Adam West? How dare you? Yes,
now
George
you
Clooney was a word.
George.
But how dare you? How dare you? I am you. How dare you talk about Adam West? Anyway, he has also said this. Jerissa, do you ever look at female muscle comics and 3D art? What do you think about it?
I don't look at a ton of it. I've come across it randomly on Instagram, and I dig it. Like, I think it looks cool.
Yeah,
I like that people kind of exaggerate these kind of sexy looks on muscular women.
Well, it's a fantasy thing for us guys, because we know as you know, said again, with women bodybuilding, your fan base is very small fan base. It's mostly us men, maybe a few women here and there, but generally mostly men. While as you know, with men's bodybuilding, their fan base is wider. It's going to be guys who are fan of bodybuilders, straight guys. I'm saying this straight, and you have guys who are come sa, gay, and you might have a little women here and there, and that's the reason why they survive, because they have a wider fan base. You women have a selective, small fan base. And some of you ladies, especially how we talked about earlier, how to make money, like OnlyFans, like that. Some ladies, they do photo sessions where like people, like after the shows, because like I said, when you ladies rock hard, we're rock hard. And, and they do the photo sessions because that's the way for them to make some money. I know one lady told me how, well, depending on the photo session, depending on who she works with, she can make for anything from $400 or $500 an hour for doing a photo session. Mm-hmm. And then, especially if you do the show, you don't crack in the top 3 or top 5, we get prize money. And I got to come all the way here. A lot of these guys be waiting and say, hey, we got the photo session, you want to do it? We set it up. You make a little money for yourself. You go home. Hey, you have something in your pocket. And, it's just, that's the way sometimes, one thing if I could do this, and if I had, I like Jake Wood, but I think if any money I want to have, I want to have Bill Gates money. I want to be a schmo with Bill Gates money because he has money. It's continuous. It's deep pockets. I would love to do this. I would love to reach out to some ladies and say, I want to sponsor. Recently they just ended the Win Your Strength ambassador brand program. I think they're supposed to go to another direction, and it's hard for women especially in women's physique and bodybuilding to get sponsors. Figure can probably get a little easier because they have their divisions a little bit more feminine, but still a level of muscle. Bikini girls get no question. And no doubt for fitness and wellness. But women's bodybuilding, it's a lot harder to get sponsors. I would love to do this. I would say this. I say to you, Miss Upton, my name is such and such, such and such. I want to sponsor you. I know you have a job where I want to do stuff I want to do for you. Like, okay, if you're doing a show, we got a side contract. You can do these many shows. I'll pay for your trip. I'll pay for your room and board. Like I said, if you need suits, I'll pay for your suits. That'll help you out. That'll save some money in your pocket. Little stuff like that will help you out in the long run because, it's expensive. Especially, I remember talking to a lady. She was when she was in the NPC, before she got a pro card, she said her last prep cost her $7,000 for her last prep. And, and she has 2 or 3 kids. And that's the one thing is you have the responsibility of family. You have your dogs, but it's not the same when you raise the children. And there's a lot of women in sport now, if you see in the last few years, who are coming to sport, who have kids, who have mothers, who are wives. And then, you have to have responsibility of family. You have to still train and work out. And, it can be a financial burden. But if there was somebody, you think about it, if you have somebody say, okay, I'll give you like a couple $1,000s a month, that does help with some of your financial issues. Like if somebody says, you know what, if you got to do a show, I'll pay for your plane ticket, and also I can make reservations for you in the motel. But like this thing is, some guys be like, Jerissa, you kind of pretty girl, If I do this for you, well, I get out of it. No,
Right.
don't.
Yeah.
Don't do that, guys. Be like, say, Mr. Jerissa, I want to help you. I want to see you see in your next level. I want you to become successful. I don't want nothing out of it but see you succeed in what you want to do. And that's what we need to see more in bodybuilding, especially for women. My man, KL, the Wanderer, bikini might replace bodybuilding. Don't be surprised. Bodybuilding for women might still be around, I think, but it probably won't be as big. Yeah,
it's already shrinking. It's already shrinking.
Yeah, because some women, I just saw a couple ladies posted. I get an interview with a lady. Her name is Daphne Carter. She was a physique competitor. She switched over to wellness. The lady I did an interview a while back. Her name is Capacine. She was figure. She's doing wellness.
Wait,
I just saw.
Did you say a physique competitor went into wellness from
Yep.
physique?
Yes,
That's
there's
big
plenty of
thing.
them doing it. With Daphne, she's not that big, but she's Haitian, and she has one thing about with wellness. You have to have those Black aesthetics. That's why you see a lot of the Brazilian, a lot of the Caribbean women. I saw Sunny Andrews who competed. She was a big talk of time about Sunny Andrews, Dr. Sunny Andrews, but she was dead bottom for this last year's Olympia. And and as she's white, and most white women don't have those natural aesthetics. That's why you see a lot of women from Brazil, Puerto Rico, the Caribbean play so well because they have those Afro aesthetics, bigger hips, bigger in the butt. One friend told me that some people would pump a little oil, stuff like that, or try to do BBLs, try to do it.
They do.
But yeah. And that thing is, if you can't beat nature, it's hard to beat nature. And if the last Olympia, the top 3 were mostly women from the Caribbean or Brazil, because it originally kind of started from Brazil. I saw a lady who was a wellness competitor do bodybuilding, but she has bigger quads, bigger thighs. But it's just about the aesthetics of it. You have to understand, how it works for somebody. I saw a lady, I think you may have heard of her. Her name is Samantha Jerry. She was in figure and she was in figure, but now she decided to switch over to physique. To wellness. And I've seen that girl. The girl who trains heavy. She's very muscular. She could have went up to physique if she wanted to, but she felt like I'm going with the more popular division overall. And that's what wellness is. And I think you probably will see. More women jump over because they may not have the aesthetics or the looks for women's bodybuilding. But like I said, folks, we're not going to hold her too long. That's my little brother, and we don't want to take up your time because it's joyful having talk with you. And maybe you want to do maybe someone down the road, maybe after the next competition, you want to talk and talk some more and share this because plus we have that debate about Marvel versus DC.
Oh yeah. That is far from over, sir.
Yeah, we put this as part 2, and but I really appreciate what you do. Like I said, I respect the ladies like yourselves. You women who are still in the NPC, grinding, putting that hard work. You did your debut, you did good on your debut. I remember a lady by the name of Hunter Henderson. Hunter, she made a debut. She did her first show, qualified for nationals. She did USA's. Then did that same year she did Tampa, and then she qualified. She didn't qualify. She took second behind Mona Persillet, but she took a step back because she had some medical issues. But I've seen some women. I just see a couple of interviews with ladies who were grinding in EPC for nearly 20 years, some even 30. Finally got their pro card. One lady, her name is Lada. She just got a pro card at the Olympia Amateurs. One lady just got a pro card at Masters. She was 15 years. And I've seen some ladies say, you know what, just they have a passion for the sport. I've seen some ladies who get in the sport, got pro, that was it. I've seen some women who got their pro cards and then they even compete as a pro because they feel like it'd be more conducive for them to find a real job and to live their life. But it is a tough sport. Financially, mentally, physically, it's a tough sport. And most people who don't understand it, who have their thoughts on it, or who believe that, okay, I can do this. All I gotta do is take steroids, take that. But it's not that easy. It's never that easy. You have to understand this. You have to be consistent. You have to follow a diet. You have to work hard. It's all about what you put into your sport, what you get back out of it. And some people don't understand that. Don't try it. My man KL, he goes again. He goes again. By the record, Adam West wasn't a bad Batman. It was a TV show that was sucked. There was a Batman version in the 40s, Cliffhanger, and it was better than the TV show. I remember those ones, the class, those was like back in the 40s, they didn't have TV. You had to go to theater, you want to see something like cartoons like that. I remember that. I know there was there, but I grew up with the Adam West. It was campy, it was fun. I liked it. I think, like I said, you go like best overall Batman, number one out of the bullet, you have to say, and people gonna say like first best is the best Batman, honestly, is Adam West, because he was the first one everybody knows and grew up with. Then you say Michael, that's my other brother. then you say Michael Keaton. Then you go with Christian Bale. I think I would say Batflick. Then Val Kilmer. No, not Batflick. Kevin Conroy. After Christian Bale. For the voice, he was he was the voice of Batman. He was Batman. Then you go Batflick, Val Kilmer, and I would say I give Rob Pattinson a little close, and then dead last is George Clooney, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. I think he did a good job. Patterson. What is his name? Patterson.
Rob Pattinson. Yeah, Rob Pattinson.
Yeah, I don't know why I can't remember his name, but yeah, I thought he did a good job. If you haven't seen that one, I would be curious to know your thoughts on it. It's very it's much less comic-y and very much kind of rooted in like the mundane everyday kind of the way they did Joker. It's kind of styled in that same way, but I thought it was interesting. I love to get your take on that.
It was like Colin What's-His-Face played the Penguin. I said, wow, you got Colin. I mean, he had to put the makeup. There's a guy named Richard Klein. He used to be on the show Spin City. He could have played the Penguin.
Oh, but it was really well done. That character. Yeah.
Got you. And he's like, dun, 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 dun. The
real question is, when are we going to get you into some voice acting? Because you've got an impression for everybody.
Like I said, I don't know. Voice acting, it's not easy to say. Voice acting is not easy. This is about as tough as acting. I mean, I know I'm good with this guy here. Sometimes, my father was a drunk and a fiend. My mother never liked it. Not one bit. Why so serious? Why so serious, son? And truthfully, my mother was drunk and fiend, but my mother, she loved them. They were together. My mother and father were together for 55 years. But even though 30th he was spending in New Jersey, she was still in North Carolina. They were still together, but they passed. But yeah, I think one thing about this sport, from what I've learned and what I've been dealing with my content, is that it is a tough sport. It's an expensive sport. It's a financial sport. And you ladies, you take a lot of shots. You have people making comments about your sexuality. You have people making comments about why you're in such a sport. I know with your family, a situation where they support you, and they love you. I know your mom was saying like, baby, I don't want you to get too buff. I want you to settle down and have a man, some kids. I don't want you to, your daddy said, baby doll, I don't want you to be my son. I want you to be my daughter. But that's a tough part, but they still support you. And
I got lucky. My parents don't necessarily understand all of what I'm doing, but they have been willing students and they've been incredibly supportive. And, I have the wonderful blessing of having them as sponsors. They've helped me out in so many ways. So I got lucky in that regard. Like, again, they don't always understand it. And my mom does have those concerns to some degree, like, oh, don't get too big, whatever, stay away from steroids, those kind of things. But at the same time, they've been willing students. I got them to sit down and watch some of my. I got my parents to sit down for like an hour, and we just scrolled through like a shit ton of Terrence Ruffin posing videos. And I mean, he's a master. He's a master. And I got them to kind of understand the artistry of the sport, which I think is missed a lot of times. I think Terrence is one of the only really phenomenal artists in bodybuilding. There are a lot of great physiques in bodybuilding, but he's actually kind of brought back the artistic part of the posing routine, which I appreciate him for. So yeah. So anyway, without going on another tangent, I've been very lucky in that regard.
Yeah,
It's
I gotta say,
George, I could talk to you all day.
yeah, I could talk to you all day too, but we do have so much amount of time. My man, Brooke Burrell, Queen Jerissa, would you ever consider being a superhero movie or comic book being someone who is built like a superhero? Oh yeah, I think who would you, if you had a choice, would you want to be a original superhero or which superhero you would like to be?
Which superhero, like in current existence?
Or be your own superhero?
Ooh, that's a good question. Okay, so to answer the question, the first part of the question, like hands down, yes. If someone wanted me in their movie or their comic, absolutely. Like, who would say no to something fun like that? It would give me an excuse to wear those fantastic outfits that female superheroes tend to wear. Like, I'm all for it. And then, gosh, who would I be? That's a tough one. I would want to be some sort of female hybrid iteration of like Thor. Like I would want like Thor's abilities as my superpower. Or no, scratch that. I think that I would be a great Captain Marvel. Like,
remember, they do have a Captain Marvel, Black Captain Marvel. They did it. They put it in the Doctor Strange movie, but also there's one in the comics too.
Yeah, I saw the one in the Doctor Strange and the comics. Yeah, Brie Larson, I think, was in this casting. There, it really. I almost decided.
See, that's another one. Captain Marvel. Yeah. Another one.
Okay, that one's definitely on the L list because I almost didn't even watch that. I didn't want to see Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. Like I didn't want to see it.
She's kind of deadpan. They could have found somebody with a little more energy. Or what with the old idea of Captain Marvel where he was a man?
Yeah, no. And if Captain Marvel was a man, then I think they also should have chosen like. I mean, I don't know. There are a lot of muscle-bound actors. It doesn't have to be a bodybuilder. But if I was going to choose a bodybuilder to be Captain Marvel, it would be Chris Bumstead. Like,
he has that cop mustache.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got a look. He's got the look. Superhero look.
Well, yeah, that is good. That's a good choice. I mean, I would love to see them go away from getting just some supermodel-looking chick to play as a superhero. We can get a real athlete, maybe CrossFit women or a bodybuilder. I think, but Hollywood is. Hollywood's going by what the is everyday John and Jane Q public want to see, and as a woman that makes more feminine sense. But that's just as us fans of muscle and women of muscle. There's not enough for us to make a change, but maybe someday somebody might have enough guts and gall and courage to say, you know what, I want to cast this lady as the next, Big Barda or Maximus or even one of those ladies from the comics. I mean, it's just about right casting, right time, and how good an actor that person is. Sometimes some people you might get the right person, but just that the acting, you have to be a good actor.
That's what I was gonna tell you. Sometimes it's easier just to kind of use Hollywood magic to get the look for a real actor. It's really hard to teach people who are not actors how to act convincingly. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at Arnold. He was never really a prolific actor, but his movies were fun.
Yeah,
and they worked really hard to get him to where he was.
Yeah, because one of his movies, Hercules, they actually had a voiceover for him. Because his accent was kind of still thick back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Lou Ferrigno. Oh, Lou, he's always gonna be the Hulk for me. I know Lou's like he's always gonna be the Hulk. I mean, I like the other versions. I think I like the Ed Norton version better than I like the last couple of ones. I think he used had issues with that, but I think he was a good Hulk. They could have stick with that.
I think Hulk deserves a better movie. I really do. But I did like the Ed Norton version. I agree. But I still think what's his name should get a movie. The
Oh,
actor.
Ruffalo, Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah, I think he should get a Hulk movie.
They just said
really
we were
do.
talking about it a long time. No, She-Hulk. She-Hulk, she's kind of like him. It's got a tall chick with him all looks. With She-Hulk.
Yeah.
But like I said,
Sorry.
yeah. Well, folks,
Sorry,
we're not gonna hold Jerissa long. I know we get there. She's just training. She's probably ready to eat. I know y'all ladies have to eat 5-6 times a day to stay consistent. But we do appreciate her for coming through and sharing her story. Like I said, I want to shout my man Brooke Morale, my brother KL, the Wanderer. Also, Balls Deep from Chi-Town, from your hometown. I hope you don't run into him. I want to appreciate anybody who came through here, who liked, comment, and who who share this video. Like I said, here's the thing I want you people out there. If you are someone who has the means and the ways to support people like Jerissa, or any woman, be it IFPB Pro, be it NPC competitor, to the next level in their career, be genuine support. Don't be that guy saying like, I want some pictures and like that. No, stop that. Stop it. Be someone like this. Be genuine in your interest. Say like Miss Upton, I want to support you. I have a plan. I have a contract. This is how we work. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to get you the next step. And we want to see you succeed. And if you don't get your pro card, we can always keep on going. And I know there's guys out there. There's guys, if you could afford to support someone like Jerissa. Like I said again, her social media, her IG's in the description. Check her out, her content, check her out, and do something genuinely to help someone get farther along. This sport, as I said again, it's expensive. It's a hobby sport. I will say like this, when I was talking with a friend of mine, how we get your pro card, it's like $200 a month to pay, $200 a month to pay for the pro card. What should happen is with that pro card, you should get benefits. You should get health insurance, life insurance. When you retire and say, you know what, I'm done, I don't want to compete anymore, you have a pension like any other athlete. So when you're done, you have a way, you have some money for yourself. And even when you're not competing, you should get like, okay, let's give them, because one thing is they make a lot of money for sponsoring like that, but the fact is they don't want to, because it's described like something like the UFC, they call you uncontracted workers. And and in UFC, they can't fight no place else unless it's like something that doesn't involve MMA. As uncontracted workers, you don't get benefits like you could if you were a contracted worker, because you understand that on your job you have benefits. So if you get sick, like I remember one of my old jobs, I got sick because I have a heart issue. I have a pacemaker, and and I was out for about maybe a month or so before I got back to work. I remember I got a check for $2,000 because of my short-term disability. That helped me catch up on a few things, put a little money in my pocket. I had that, and that's what you are athletes. You need that. That will help you out. If you think about it, if you get sick or get hurt, we don't have to pay for your blood work. You don't have to pay for this. You don't have to pay for that. You can go to a place and say, you know what, I have my card. Get a discount on this. That will help you in the long run. Save you the money in your pocket so you can prep, and maybe you can buy. You maybe put a little more bejewels on your suit. But it's just that thing is, if you're someone out there, so again, have the means and the ways to sponsor an amateur athlete or a professional athlete, reach out in genuine interest, not like some guy looking for a date, not for a guy looking for pics, not for a guy looking for some videos. She doesn't do OnlyFans. She doesn't do any of the other, as I call them, beat the meat websites. She is a professional lady, but she can use some little help. But be genuinely interested in helping this person. Be genuinely interested in helping her get to the next level. But don't be that guy. And like I said again, no D pictures, sick freaks. Stop it. Stop it. So anyway, you have anybody you want to shout to, anybody you want to say hello, just like, while you're here?
Well, first and foremost, thank you, George, for inviting me here. And I certainly look forward to staying connected and possibly chatting with you again. And everyone, Brooke, is that CLA there? The Wanderer there?
KLA, yeah.
KLA, sorry. KLA, the Wanderer, and then Mr. Balls there. Yeah, it was great chatting with you guys. Thank you so much for your questions, your comments, your encouragement. Very kind of you, and to anybody else who might stop by later and take the time to watch this conversation. Thank you. And then, of course, very thankful to my support system, my teammates, my coach, my family, my friends, even my colleagues who kind of flex and make room for me to get my schedule together enough to be able to pursue this, and all the organizations that provide stages for us to compete on. I'm literally just happy to be here and going through the process, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what my body career ultimately is going to shape up like. But no matter the goal, big, small, long term, short term, the work is the same. So I'm looking forward to staying in it.
Well, one thing I want to say to you, and this is the thing I like to, as you know, I just keep saying I'm a fan of Batman Begins. And in the movie, when Gary Oldman as Jim Gordon, who was at the time Lieutenant Gordon, said to Batman, "I forgot to thank you," and Batman turned around and said to him, "You never have to, because what I do here is to educate people to understand what you ladies go through. You are ladies, you are businesswomen, you are athletes, you are wives, you are mothers, you are women who need recognized for what you put into the sport. And if anything, you should get more out of it." That's why I tried to, when I got into this thing, because I was taking care of my mom, I needed something to talk about, something to get my mind off of her situation. I got into this to really, just for fun. But when I reached out to them, my first interviews and just talking to these ladies, and then, they giving me their numbers, and have some, and making friendships and keeping contact, I enjoy that. Because I don't have a lot of friends, but I do have family. I love my family, but it's good to be able. The other day I had a lady who used to be a pro, but she's now an NPC judge, and she contacted me because her son wanted to do StreamYard, and she called me up and said, "Hey, you think you can help my son with his StreamYard?" I said, "Yeah, I got no problem. I help him out with him, and give him the information like that." I love that, because you know what? It's good to be. To have a friend. And like I say, if you need anybody to talk to, just say, we'll talk about, we can have our debate over Marvel versus DC, or we can just say, we had those times when you're like, you know what, it's just sometimes it's just joy. It's just getting to me, it's getting hard to me. And I sometimes see little things every so often, like little videos like that. And that just helps, because you know what, that motivation keeps you going, keep you moving. And, like I said, again, like Rocky said, it's about not how hard you can hit, it's how hard you can take the hits and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. My man Book Boy, before we go out here, Book says, Lou Ferrigno was, and always will be the Hulk. Hulk! I remember you saw that movie where the movie was I Love You Man, and the dude was fighting Lou Ferrigno. He said, he's so strong! That was, like he called him Hulk. People don't know about Lou Ferrigno. He's partially deaf.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's partially deaf. There's him and another bodybuilder. Her name, the late Chevy Beatty, both were deaf. It's not meaning, it's just not about you got wheelchair guys. We don't know many bodybuilders. You're seeing a lot more people who have disabilities in bodybuilding, like wheelchairs. I know one lady, she had a class that had multiple sclerosis as a bodybuilder. I mean, it's really just sport. We inspire people. I mean, people might talk about how people dying for the sport, people dancing in the sport, this, that. But like I said, hey, you look at Major League Sports. People don't talk about how steroids and that. And you had a whole congressional hearing for baseball. That was tax money wasted. But it's just about what you want to do, where you want to go. The next step as an athlete, and if you want to make that sacrifice. Remember, there was years ago there was a socialist scientist. We say, like, he had a test. He asked a bunch of Olympic level athletes, if you could take this pill, and it can cause you to win gold medals, but short your life by 5 years, we still take it. And they all said yes. So if you want to, you want to get the next up over the next person, and you take that risk, you're going to do it.
Yeah. Look at Ronnie. They asked him, would you do everything the same way again, knowing what the outcome is now? He said, yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
But like I said, much respect to the Olympia champion, and much respect to all ladies out there in the sport of bodybuilding. Folks, as I said again, if you didn't see all of the video, you can watch it again. You follow my channel, support my channel and support these ladies like Jerissa who are in the sport. Comment, like, subscribe, share. Even go to social media and follow her. Get her number count up. If you're a sponsor who likes a lady who's clean living, who is attractive, who can, you can use and put on a box of weeds like that, reach out to her. But here again, folks, and I just don't know. I know it'd be no good for me to tell you this, but no deep hits. Don't be that guy. Stop it. I know these guys, this is a true story. I used to be on this, it was a fan muscle chat, guys with fan for your bodybuilder. This guy said he went to a show. True story. He told us how we wouldn't chat this listen to. He told us how he went to a show. He used to go to shows every so often. And while they were having the women's finals, it was the finals, I think I can't remember, it was an amateur show or pro show. It was one of those. It was the finals. It was the final it was the final polls down. He was sitting there in the audience. He was enjoying himself because he loves going to shows. He loves going to see the men and the women. He loves, and then at the finals for the women, he hears a commotion in the back of the auditorium. He didn't know where it was. So he turns around, and it's a security guys pulling this guy from in the back row with his pants down. They're dragging this guy out of the auditorium. He's sitting like maybe a seat away from one of the trainers of one of the women. And he said to her, "Hey, yeah, that guy, he's, I don't know why I hadn't banned that guy. He comes about every other show. I mean, they should have his face up like, hey, don't allow him in there." And he finally did ban the guy. And like I said, that's the stream side of it. And guys like that, they make guys like me look bad. I know, I reach out to ladies about interviews. They're kind of tentative because they don't want. I can't. I don't know. I want. And some women say, "I don't know if I can watch. If my story be interesting." But your story is interesting, and I think this is something that might inspire somebody who, not man or woman, might want to get into bodybuilding.
I hope it does. I hope it does.
I hope it probably will. Anyway, folks, I do appreciate Jerissa's time, and I do appreciate her story. Support her, whatever show she's doing. We wish her best of luck. Like I said, she want to come back on here and we just talk about maybe after the show or whenever she get a pro card, or just for the hell of it, or just to get our debate over about Dark Knights, greatest movie of all time. Dark Knight. Yes. I remember my man KL said, "Man, George, why you do no quotes from Dark Knight Rises? It's a good movie, but just it's not as quotable." Batman Begins, Dark Knight. There's a lot of good quotes in those movies, but other than like Bane said, "I'm Bane, so like I was born in the dark."
Yeah.
That's about it. Yeah, that's a good line.
Yeah,
but that's about it. It's like other than then when you climb in, like when Alfred said to in Batman Begins, I was like, "Master Wayne, why do we fall? So we learn to pick ourselves up." That's a great
Alfred is a real one.
Yeah, Michael Caine did a pretty good job, and he was a great Alfred. But
Amazing Alfred.
Yeah. Anyway, folks, like I said, I thank Jerissa for coming through and sharing her story. I'd like to thank my man Brooke Burrell, my brother KL the Wanderer, my man, Balls Deep. Anybody who watches this video, share, comment, subscribe, shoot my channel up. Hit me up if you're interested in maybe getting some more ladies on here. A lady who is, like I said, your friend. Send me her information. I'll reach out to her, see if she wanted to do an interview.
She's got an incredible story. Now that's someone you've got to listen to.
Yeah, I guess the thing is that's good because it's good to share these stories because it gives you ladies the story of your past. But anyway, folks, I like to appreciate Jerissa for coming through. I know she's a DC hater, but I know that's besides the point. But I like to appreciate her time, sharing her story, her path. We like to encourage her to keep on going, keep moving forward, and keep going what you got to do. Maybe this year will be the year you get your pro card. If not, hey, there's always next year. And like I said, keep grinding, and keep doing it. Because eventually, you put in much into it, you get rewarded. It maybe take a long time, but like I said, I talked to ladies who used to be in sport for 20, 30 years. They finally got it. They were happy. And I hope you do get it. And I hope you have all the assistance in the world.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys.
As I said again, as I said, you never have to.
Well, I appreciate it in any case.
Anyway, folks, this is your man, Always George Page, a.k.a. the Emperor from About Me Talk. Don't subscribe. I am out. Have a great rest of the week.
Bye, guys.